Wizards of the Coast has followed through on an announcement they made last May about revitalizing Standard for players. The question a lot of players are now asking themselves, though, is it too late to save this format? Is the ship turning too slowly? Is it too little too late? Or did they arrive just in time? Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me on my channel today. And that's the debate a lot of players are starting to have with the idea of getting back into Standard. With all the different formats that Wizards has been catering to, they are finally getting back around to revitalizing and adding a breath of life into the Standard format. We already knew they kind of had the idea of this when their pocketbooks started to hurt. When you're only buying one of something like you do in Commander, there's not as much money on the table as there is in Standard. And I think Wizards is finally starting to notice that their bread and butter really came from Standard, and everything else was an offshoot of that by just letting things naturally kind of fall into place with cards that were created for Standard and got branched into other sets. So it's interesting that they're finally getting back around to it, and a lot of players are now wondering, am I getting back into Standard? Am I going for tournaments? Is this worth my time? Is my LGS even going to host these events? Is this something they're interested in doing? That's the real question. That's the real issue that a lot of players are starting to wonder, because Standard, although it's a fun format, I've played it for a long time. I've still tried it on Arena, even though I think the game is rigged on Arena. In the past, I have tried to play the ranked system to see how my decks would work out. And the idea that you get to go back to the stores, play it in person, become a store champion, but not only that, work yourselves up to some serious prize pool money. Not as serious as it needs to be, but moving in the right direction, because I'd done a video, I guess it was a month and a half ago, called The Ugly Truth. I did list it back on my homepage in case you guys wanted to take a view of this video, where I'd said Wizards really needs to get back into the idea of running big tournaments with big prizes by securing massive amounts of money for players to be able to win these prizes like they do in things like StarCraft tournaments and the like from the PC world. They need to bring this to this card format, just like, the Poker Stars type thing, the exact same idea. And it looks like Wizards is starting small with a smaller prize pool, but at least they're headed in the right direction. Now, let's take a look at the actual kind of posting they put up, and let's look at some of the information. So here it starts out saying, last May we announced we would be taking multiple steps to revitalize Standard at local game stores. The first step involved getting the format into a spot where more players would enjoy it. We banned several cards to help shift the metagame to a more fun space. We changed the format to rotate every 3 years to make it more useful for longer. At the time, we also indicated this was only the first step, and there was more work to be done. Well, it's great that they're recognizing that a little bit late. The ship turned slow. But today's announcement is all about next steps, giving players and stores enticing events that they would want to play and run, and give them something at the end of the rainbow for building up their Standard decks. To that end, we've created the slate. Sorry, pardon many of the word salad I have in this kind of conversation, guys. We've created a slate of Standard play at every level, from store play to a 75,000 Standard Open all the way up to the Pro Tour, to demonstrate your mastery of Standard. I spoke about the opportunities on stream today, which you can watch here. Of course, you guys can go look this stuff up and watch the whole video. It's like 4 minutes and change. But the local store play in February, alongside the launch of Murders at Karlov Manor, we'll be bringing back Standard Showdown. For players who are not familiar with this program, it includes a weekly Standard play program held at local WPN game stores, special promos and other prizes for players to participate and win, a special oversized card for retailers who successfully complete a number of designated events. I have a lot to say about that, guys. We'll get that after this part's done. Starting with the Caverns of Lost Ixalan, we'll be shifting store championships to Standard constructed, giving players an additional chance to compete at local game stores for exciting promos and prizes. Then it goes down to talk about qualifier play, the open stuff in Chicago, Pro Tour play. I'm just kind of humming over this stuff a bit because there's a lot to really unpack here, and now we've got to talk about this. So just so I understand this correctly, and all of you guys do at home, about the too little too late, the idea that they're offering a giant card, big card, huge card, I don't care how big it is, for a store who completes a number of these tournaments, which means the store is paying for the staff, the hydro, the internet. Need I go on? The taxes involved in doing all the said above things, and you're going to give them a giant piece of cardboard. I have an issue with that. I'm sure a lot of you guys realize that as well, because I'm not smiling. I'm not happy about that idea. Where is the actual incentive for a store to do these things? WPN stores, don't forget. How many stores have we lost during this whole COVID crisis and coming out of COVID and the bad products they've given us at overpriced, overinflated idea prices that they were hoping to attain by reaching for the sky? And now we're stuck looking at this, and you want the stores to ante up more costs to run your events without offering any financial incentive to get them through that situation and support you. That's the problem we're having. They said gaming stores, they thrive when these things happen. Yeah, you can sell some snacks. Absolutely. You may sell some singles as people start competing and building, but you'll do that all during the day as well without having an extra 1 or 2 staff at night, having to clean bathrooms, turn on the lights, run everything until, 4 or 5 hours and costing your store hundreds of dollars more every week. That kind of idea falls short. The open prize of $75,000, I consider that a nice starting point, but they should have started at a minimum of $100,000, like Barcelona, and gone higher from there. There should be a prize pool of $1.2 million. It should be $100,000 every month, bringing you to that point, to bring to that culmination a final tournament with like at least a $500,000 grand prize. You want players to buy these cards. You want them to compete, travel, pay for hotels, pay for expensive getting there. Yes, Magic is a fun game to play. And for those who take it really seriously and want to compete at these levels, you have to offer them incentives to want to compete, to attract the talent, to attract the players who have that fine of a knowledge of detail to make them pay all that money and try to make some kind of living doing this. That's what we're talking about right here. Top-end StarCraft players and stuff can make $1 million+ by all their little avenues of cash flow, and you're offering a top-end player $75,000, sure, for this one-time event, but they have to pay for all the stuff to get there. And all that travel, all that time means they don't probably have a regular job. I see all kinds of flaws in the logic in which they used in this conversation, which kind of I'm not on board with. I really think judges need to be totally regulated. I know they kind of are, but I mean totally regulated and supported by Wizards of the Coast, assigned to a certain area. I'm talking you have to pay that judge. That judge has got to go out and judge that tournament because it's his job. And that's what Wizards of the Coast needs to do. Start paying these judges $100,000 a year each. Hire thousands of them. Yes, I know, huge cost runs and overruns and all kinds of horrible things. But you got to build a base. You can start smaller. You can pay them less. But you have to make it so a judge wants to be there. You have to incentivize them and not put it on the store to pay that judge with a couple of boxes or something, right? You want the judge to be professional. You want them to step up to the plate. Pay them. You want the players to come out. You want them to be there. Pay them. Make them want to be there. Yes, charge entrance fees. Stores can charge entrance fee, I guess. I don't know how it works. I haven't been to a tournament like this in a long time. But there has to be some kind of way to help the stores pay for everything, which doesn't put it on them. And then you have to have a way to incentivize judges and things to be there to show that they are worth it to take the time and effort to be a judge. And then the money will start to come back to Wizards. It's reciprocal. It's not a one-way sieve where the money just pours out into Wizards' pocketbook. I like the idea of revitalizing Standard. I like the idea of bringing players back into it, and I can see how Wizards will make money. I can see how a good constructed format with a longer term of life means cards have values longer, players can enjoy the game longer, and your deck doesn't get erased every 24-month period. You get 36 now. You get a little more time. I don't know if they'll keep it there. I know a lot of players are probably humming and hawing about that. As soon as it gets healthy, they'll probably start cutting things. I can see them doing it. And that's the problem with Wizards. They're always wishy-washy and they're always changing their minds. They need this stuff written down like law. I'm talking 10 Commandments style that will never change. Like any professional sport, they need to step up to the plate, create the league that they want to support, to bring in the revenue and generate the capital they want later on. But you have to build it so we will come. Remember that movie Field of Dreams? Right out of that. So that's what I'm talking about when I look at this. When I look at the idea, I love it on paper. I like the idea of the little comments they make in the conversation. But you have to see it to believe it. And right now, a lot of players, this is not going to change their mind. This is not going to change the mind of any LGS I'm aware of right now who's WP, and they're kind of like, I'm going to run stuff anyway. But staffing costs are staffing costs. They're getting more expensive every year. Inflation ain't cheap. And Wizards, you're draining us. And nothing here that I saw today helps the store, helps the judges, or makes it enticing enough for players to really reach out there to try to make their dreams come true by entering a Pro Tour type style thing. So either way, I want to know what you guys think. I want your comments down in the comment section. Join this conversation. Thanks for being here and allow me to have this conversation with you about revitalizing Standard. Is it enough or should we do more? And of course, if you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Daily content put up. And of course, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys this weekend. We're going to have some crazy stuff going on. Yeah, we'll talk about when we get there. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another video. And of course, a big shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons we have on the channel supporting everything we do here each and every day. Thanks again for being part of this amazing team. You patrons, you make it happen. Thanks again. Have an awesome day. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. Thanks a lot for hanging out with a cut thumb. I don't know. What do you guys think? Does this strike your fancy as a way to get back into Standard? Because I like the idea of it. I think they have the right tone. I just don't think they're hitting everything out of the ballpark like they need to. You can't do what you did before. If you want to bring people back, you got to go bigger. You got to go huge. That's the problem with movie theaters. You want to get people back in the movie theaters, you charge $5 a movie. They used to have like cheap Tuesdays where it's $10 for like a movie, a popcorn, and a drink. They need to actually go back and do that to get people used to going to the theaters again. It's the same thing they need to do, okay? This is something that Wizards of the Coast has to learn. You got to build it so we'll come. Yeah, I'm telling you, if they do things correctly and just get everything really cheap to get people in, subsidize everything, and then slowly scale back over a number of years to start seeing your profits realized. It's something you got to do, man. Anyway, I mean, even here with the Raptors, it used to be like $5 tickets when I was a kid. Over the years, reputation got built and things became expensive and you couldn't go to the Raptor games anymore. That's what I'm talking about. Anyway, thanks a lot for hanging out. Random thoughts from a guy talking about ramble jamble stuff. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have an awesome day. You know what? I'm looking forward to this 20K stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if you guys will, but I am. It's just, yeah.